My neighbor demanded I give her my parking spot. My response was caught on camera and went viral. Hi everyone. Before we get into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed that the channel's reach has been dropping a bit, and one of the best ways you can support us is by subscribing. It's quick, free, and helps us keep bringing you new and interesting stories. Your support means the world to us, and together we can grow this channel. Thank you so much. Now let's get to today's story. I'm writing from a temporary account for obvious reasons, and I've changed some details to protect my anonymity. My name is Andrew. I'm 32, and until recently I was just another corporate drone working in downtown Chicago. I'm a data analyst at a tech company, living alone in a one-bedroom apartment in Lincoln Park. Not the fanciest neighborhood, but close to the L and generally tolerable. I've been renting this place for 4 years now, and in that time I've gotten used to the local quirks. Noisy upstairs neighbors, a perpetually broken elevator, and the main problem plaguing all city dwellers: parking. When I first moved here in 2020, the first few months were absolute hell. My car, a modest 2018 Honda Civic I'd gotten on a loan, had to be parked half a mile from home. Can you imagine? You work until 10 at night, get home exhausted like a dog, and then walk another half hour through dark alleys with grocery bags from Whole Foods. On particularly unlucky days, the only spot available was at a paid parking garage for $15 an hour. With my salary of $75,000, these were noticeable expenses. Salvation came in the form of a notice in the building lobby. Private parking spot for rent. $200 per month. Expensive? Yes. But when you've spent 6 months driving around the neighborhood like a maniac looking for parking, $200 seems like a reasonable price for peace of mind. The spot turned out to be perfect. Right in our building's courtyard, spot number 15, clearly marked with its own sign. The owner, an elderly woman named Mrs. Rodriguez from the third building, showed me all the paperwork. We made it official through a notary. I even ordered a sign. Parking spot number 15. Private property. Leased through September 1st, 2025. Hung it on the post. Beautiful. 4 years of peaceful living. Every morning you walk out, cars there, nobody bothers anyone. Every evening you come home, park, and go inside. Paradise, in other words. The neighbors in our building are pretty diverse. There are young families with kids, retirees, perpetually grumpy middle-aged ladies. Mostly everyone leaves each other alone. Typical urban hi-bi format. I'm not particularly social myself. I talk enough at work. At home, I want peace and quiet. But there's one neighbor. Karen Williams, 45 years old, lives on the second floor of Building A. Easy to spot. Always dressed to the nines, even when taking out the trash. Blonde with a bouffant, lips pumped with Botox to duck bill status, manicured nails, Coach bag. Knockoff, but she thinks nobody notices. Drives a white BMW X5 from 2016. Honestly, not the newest car anymore, but looks expensive. Karen works as a sales manager at some furniture company, but from her attitude, you'd think she owns half the Gold Coast. Always complaining in the residents group chat about how there's no order in this building. The doorman doesn't monitor the property. We need to establish discipline. Meanwhile, she regularly breaks every possible rule herself. Walks her dog, a Yorkie named Princess, right in the courtyard without a leash, parks wherever it's more convenient, loudly argues on the phone under people's windows. For the first 3 years, we barely crossed paths. I'm a quiet person, leave early for work, come back late. But then something changed. Maybe she just got tired of parking in the regular spots. Or maybe she decided that since my car was more modest than her BMW, my rights should be smaller too. It all started innocuously. Sometime in February 2024, I came home from work a couple times to find the white BMW in my spot. I thought it was an accident. Happens sometimes. Left a polite note under the wipers. Hello. This spot is rented by me. Please don't use it. Thanks for understanding. Andrew from Building C, Apartment 94. The car was moved, but it happened again the next day. That's when I decided to approach her personally. Found Karen by her building entrance. She was unloading shopping bags from her car. "Excuse me," I said. "Could you please not use my parking spot? I rent it." She looked at me like I was something unpleasant stuck to her shoe. "Do you have documents for this spot?" "Of course I do. Rental agreement with the owner, all official." "Well, show me." I had to go home to get the papers. Showed them. She studied them for about 3 minutes, apparently looking for a loophole. Why this specific spot? There are lots of them here, because this is the spot I rent. For the 4th year now. I see. Couldn't you find a simpler spot for yourself? You see, I have a BMW, an expensive car, and you have. She cast a disdainful look at my Civic. Well, basically anything would work for you. I was stunned by such audacity. Sorry, but I'm the one renting this spot. I pay money for it. If you need a spot, rent your own. Don't get smart with me. She suddenly flared up. I have a child. It's hard for me to walk far. I looked at her 5-inch heels and wondered, if it's hard to walk, maybe reconsider the shoe choice. I understand, but the spot is still mine. We'll see whose it is. She muttered and walked away, heels clicking menacingly. I thought then, well, we talked, and that's good. Now she'll understand. How wrong I was. The next few weeks turned into some kind of absurd theater. Karen didn't just continue taking my spot, she did it demonstratively. And she chose the most inconvenient days for me, when I came home late and was especially tired. At first, I tried to solve it peacefully. Talked to her again, explained the situation. She listened with a stone face and said, "Why don't you contact the management company? Maybe they'll find you a better spot, but I already have a spot." Well, maybe they'll find an even better one. Iron logic, right? Then I went to Mrs. Rodriguez, the spot's owner, explained the situation. Mrs. Rodriguez is an old-school lady. You can't fool someone like that easily. "Andrew, honey, put up a bigger sign, so it's visible from far away." I put up a bigger sign. Didn't help. Then Mrs. Rodriguez suggested a radical method. "Let's get this lady's number. I'll call her." Explained person to person. We got the number through the residents' chat. Mrs. Rodriguez called. I didn't hear the conversation, but the result was impressive. The next day, Karen parked in my spot, not just casually, but also left a note on my car's windshield. "Young man, no need to sick old ladies on me. I've been living in this building for 7 years, and you only 4. I have more rights. Besides, I'm raising a daughter and need a spot closer to the entrance. Hope for understanding. KW, I reread the note about 3 times. The logic was roughly at the level of I have more rights because I have more rights. But what struck me most was, I'm raising a daughter. Karen's daughter is already in college, about 19. Seen her a couple times. Normal girl, no different from her peers. What does the daughter have to do with anything? I wrote a response note. Karen, length of residence doesn't give additional rights to someone else's property. I have a rental agreement. If you have complaints about the legality of my use of the spot, go to court. Respectfully, Andrew. The next morning, I found a new note on my car. Same handwriting, but different tone. Andrew, don't try to act like a lawyer. I consulted with an attorney. I have connections at a law firm, and he said rental relationships can be challenged if they violate other residents' interests. Think again. KW. That's when I realized the lady was serious. Called a lawyer friend, told him everything. He laughed and said, Andrew, you have a rock-solid case. Rental agreement, owner's documents, everything's clean. She can appeal to the Supreme Court if she wants, won't get anywhere. This calmed me down. Big mistake. A week later, I got a call from the management company. Andrew, this is Lincoln Park Property Management. We received a complaint about you from a resident. Can you come in to clarify the situation? I went. There's the property manager, a woman about 50, looking tired of life. Next to her sits Karen, fully dressed up with a folder of documents. Andrew, the manager began, Karen is complaining that you're illegally occupying a parking spot in the courtyard. I showed my rental agreement. The manager studied the papers. Everything looks in order here. What's the problem? Karen jumped in. The problem is he's taking the best spot in the courtyard. I have an expensive car. I need a spot closer to the entrance. He's young, healthy, he can walk farther. The manager looked at Karen, then at me. But the spot belongs to the owner. He has the right to rent it out. Why is he renting to him specifically? Karen persisted. Maybe there's some arrangement? Maybe he's paying less than market rate? How much are you willing to pay? I asked unexpectedly. That's none of your business. $200 a month. If you're willing to pay more, feel free to negotiate with the owner. Karen gasped in outrage. $200 for one spot? You're insane. Market rate, I shrugged. Check the listings. The property manager sighed tiredly. Karen, this young man has all his documents in order. We can't interfere in rental relationships between private parties. What if I file a complaint with the city? With housing inspection? Go ahead, said the manager. Just remember, slander is also punishable. We left the management office together. Karen walked beside me, muttering something under her breath. Then she suddenly stopped and said, You know what? Your car is old, cheap. What if something happens to it? What do you mean? Well, you never know. Hail, vandals. All kinds of things happen in our neighborhood. I looked at her carefully. Karen, are you threatening me? What? No, she put on an innocent act. I'm just warning you. The world is cruel. You need to take care of your car. And she walked away, swaying her hips. That evening, I ordered a dash cam with parking surveillance function. Chinese made, but with good reviews. Plus, installed an app on my phone to get notifications about movement near the car. The next month was like a psychological thriller. Karen didn't touch my car physically, but pulled all kinds of small stunts. Sometimes her Yorkie would accidentally do its business next to my spot. Sometimes she'd park her BMW, so I had to squeeze in millimeter by millimeter. Once she parked at an angle, taking up half my spot. Technically not in my spot, but impossible to park normally. In the residents' chat, she started an active smear campaign. Posted things like, Dear neighbors, pay attention to how some residents capture the best spots in the courtyard using legal loopholes, while families with children and people with disabilities are forced to park far from home. Isn't it time to establish order? People responded differently. Some supported her about fair distribution, others objected about property rights. But overall, Karen skillfully played on emotions. The families with children theme especially resonated, even though she only has one daughter already grown up. I tried not to get involved in these arguments. Unsubscribed from the chat entirely. And then something happened that was the last straw. One Thursday, July 18th, 2024, I came home from work at 9:30 in the evening. It had been a tough day, project deadline, nerves on edge. And then, surprise. In my spot sat not only Karen's BMW, but also some old Honda Accord. And next to them, a group of 4 people with beer and music from a speaker. I approached and said, Excuse me, but this is my rented spot. One of the group, a guy about 25 in a tracksuit, looked at me with a smirk. Got papers? I showed the agreement. He didn't even look. Come on, man, don't be greedy. We're not staying long. You see, I pay money for this spot. So what? The earth belongs to everyone. That's when Karen approached, apparently watching from a distance. Andrew, what's going on here? Your friends occupied my spot. What friends? She acted surprised. I don't know them. The guy in the tracksuit winked at her. Don't know us? Who bought the beer then? Shut up, Sergio, Karen hissed at him. Everything became clear. Karen, please ask your acquaintances to free up the spot. Why should I ask them anything? I told you I don't know them. Fine. Then I'm calling the police. Go ahead. Sergio laughed. We're not breaking any laws. Sitting on the street, drinking beer. I took out my phone, started dialing 911. That's when Karen got worried. Wait, don't call the police. Let's handle this nicely. Guys, maybe you really should move? The man's tired. All right, Sergio finished his beer. But this is the last time, man. Next time, find your own spot. They left. Karen moved the BMW. I finally parked, but I realized this can't continue. And the climax came exactly a week later. July 25th, Friday. I specifically left for work early at 7 in the morning. Wanted to catch Karen off guard and have a serious talk with her. But when I came back during lunch break to get some documents, her BMW was in my spot. And on the windshield, a note. Andrew, enough of this circus. I've decided to occupy this spot permanently. I have the right as a resident with longer tenure and a mother. If you disagree, take me to court. KW. I photographed the note, got in my car, and drove back to work. All day I thought about what to do. By evening I had a plan. At 7 in the evening I came home. BMW still in my spot. I parked next to it, set my car alarm, and went home. Half an hour later my phone buzzed, got a notification from the dash cam. Someone was approaching the car, looked out the window. Karen standing by her BMW with phone to her ear, apparently complaining to someone. Then she approached my car, knocked on the hood. The alarm started wailing. I went downstairs. Karen, what's happening? This is what's happening. She pointed at the cars. You blocked my exit. I parked in a free spot, but I can't get out, and I couldn't get in when you took my spot. This isn't your spot. I have a rental agreement, and I have residence rights. That's when curious neighbors started gathering. Some looked out of windows, others came out to the courtyard. This only fired Karen up more. People, look what's happening. This person seized a parking spot and now he's blocking me. I have documents for this spot, I said louder, and I have a child. I need to get to the doctor urgently. Then call an Uber, someone from the crowd suggested. With my own money? Why should I spend because of his whims? I felt my patience running out. Karen, listen. I've been paying $200 a month for this spot for 4 years. Everything's legal. If you want this spot, negotiate with the owner. If you're willing to pay more, please do. But you can't just take someone else's spot. Why can't I? She bristled. I've lived here longer. I have a BMW, an expensive car, and you have some cheap Honda. Any spot works for you, but I need a better one. The crowd of neighbors started buzzing. Someone laughed. This lady's something else. Iron logic. Maybe I should buy a BMW too so I can park better? Karen realized she'd gone too far, but it was too late to back down. You all don't understand anything. This is about fairness. Why should he get the best spot? Because he pays for it, someone from the crowd yelled. I'm willing to pay too. How much? I asked. Well, a reasonable amount. Is 200 reasonable? That's highway robbery, that's market rate. Want it cheaper? Find a spot in another complex. Karen completely lost it. Who do you think you are to tell me what to do? I've lived here 7 years. 7, I have rights. What rights? I asked wearily. Long-term resident rights. Single mother rights. Expensive car owner rights. That's when one of the neighbors couldn't take it. Lady, how many kids make you a single mother? I have a daughter. 1 daughter makes you a single mother? A woman marveled. What should I do with 3 kids then? An expensive car. What's that got to do with anything? Added a young guy. I have a Mercedes. Do all the courtyard spots belong to me now? Karen realized she was losing in the court of public opinion, so she played her last card. Do you know that he sometimes comes home drunk? The crowd went quiet. What? I couldn't believe my ears. Yes, I saw him barely standing when he got out of his car. That's not true. I saw it, and not just me. That's when I realized things had gone too far. Slander is serious business. Karen, I said very calmly, you just publicly accused me of driving under the influence. That's a serious accusation. Do you have proof? Why do I need proof? I saw it myself. When? Where? With witnesses? Well, it was. Give me the date and time. I don't have to report to you? You do. Because you publicly slandered me. And these people are witnesses. I took out my phone. What are you doing? Starting recording. Repeat your accusation. Karen realized she was trapped. I didn't say anything. You didn't? These people heard you. Several neighbors nodded. She said it. About drunk driving. Karen started going pale under her foundation. I meant to say that he just looked tired. No, you said specifically drunk, and that's slander. Come on. She tried to turn it into a joke. We're neighbors. Why get serious? How about we take the question of who owns the spot to court, I suggested. They'll sort out both the slander and the harassment. And that's when Karen completely snapped. Oh, screw you. I'm sick of your paperwork. This is America, baby. Money talks here, not your little contracts. I have connections. I have people I know. You'll regret this. And she added a few unprintable words. The crowd gasped. And I suddenly felt a strange calm. You know how it is when you've been enduring something for a long time, and then suddenly a moment of absolute clarity comes? Karen, I said quietly, but so everyone could hear. You just threatened me in front of witnesses. After slandering me. After months of harassment. I think that's enough. I pulled out my phone and opened the camera app. What are you doing now? Karen was getting nervous. I'm going to document this conversation. Please repeat what you just said about your connections and how I'll regret this. I'm not repeating anything. That's okay. I'm sure someone here was recording. I looked around at the neighbors. Several people were indeed holding up phones. Were you recording this by any chance? I asked a teenager who'd been filming with his phone. Yeah, got the whole thing, he grinned. This is gold. Karen's face went from pale to red. Delete that immediately. Why? The kid asked. We're in a public space. I can record whatever I want. This is harassment. No, I said calmly. Harassment is what you've been doing to me for months. This is documentation. The crowd was clearly on my side now. Karen realized she'd lost completely and played her final desperate card. Fine. You want war? You'll get war. I'll make your life hell. I'll call the police every time I see your car. I'll report you for noise violations. I'll make complaints about you to the management company every day. Karen, I interrupted gently, you're making more threats in front of witnesses, while being recorded. Are you sure you want to continue? She looked around at the crowd, at the phones pointed at her, at the faces that clearly showed she'd lost all sympathy. For the first time since this whole thing started, she seemed to realize how she looked to everyone else. I didn't mean... She started backing toward her building. Karen, I called after her. Your car is still in my spot. She stopped, turned around with fury in her eyes. Fine. But this isn't over. You'll see. This isn't over. She got in her BMW, reversed with screeching tires, nearly hitting my car and sped out of the courtyard. The crowd started dispersing, but not before several people came up to me. Dude, you handled that perfectly. She's been a problem for years. About time someone stood up to her. That kid got everything on video. You should ask for a copy. I did ask. The teenager, whose name turned out to be Marcus, readily agreed to send me the video. This is going on TikTok for sure, he grinned. This lady's crazy. Maybe hold off on that, I suggested. Let me think about it first. But Marcus just shrugged. Too late, man. I already posted it. I went upstairs, thinking the drama was over. How naive I was. At around 11 that night, Marcus texted me, Dude, check TikTok. We're famous. I downloaded TikTok and searched for the video. Found it immediately. It already had 50,000 views and was climbing fast. The caption read, Entitled BMW. Karen tries to steal guy's parking spot. Gets destroyed by facts and logic. Hashtag parking Karen, hashtag justice, hashtag BMW, hashtag Honda. The comments were brutal. BMW Karen energy is off the charts. I have expensive car rights. Deceased Honda guy stayed calm the whole time. Respect. This is why I hate BMW drivers. Plot twist. It's a 2016 X5. That thing's worth like $15,000 now. Single mother rights with a 19-year-old daughter? I can't. Karen really said this is America, like she's in a movie Honda guy for president. By morning, the video had 2 million views. By evening, 5 million. News outlets started picking it up. Local Chicago news wanted interviews. The Chicago Tribune wrote an article titled "Parking Spot Dispute Goes Viral, Highlights Urban Housing Tensions." My phone was blowing up with notifications. Friends, colleagues, relatives, everyone was sending me the link. "Dude, is this you? Andrew, you're famous. I saw you on the news." The video spawned dozens of reaction videos, remixes, and memes. Someone auto-tuned Karen's "This is America, baby" rant. Another person made a remix of her listing her rights. The expensive car rights became a catchphrase. TikTok users started calling me Honda Hero and making tribute videos about standing up to entitled people. Someone created a hashtag Honda Hero challenge where people shared their own stories of dealing with entitled neighbors. The internet fame was weird, mostly positive but overwhelming. Hundreds of people were messaging me with their own parking nightmare stories. Someone started a GoFundMe to help Honda Hero get a better car. I asked them to take it down. Local Honda dealerships offered me sponsorship deals, but the real changes were in my building. Karen pretty much went into hiding. She'd moved her car to a spot 3 blocks away and was apparently parking there regularly. The other residents were treating me like a minor celebrity. The management company called to apologize for not taking the situation more seriously earlier. Mrs. Rodriguez, the spot owner, was delighted. "Andrew, mijo, you've made me famous too. My granddaughter showed me the video. That woman got what she deserved." The building's WhatsApp chat, which I'd rejoined, was full of messages supporting me and sharing other stories about Karen's entitled behavior over the years. Turned out I wasn't her first victim. She'd had disputes with multiple neighbors about various things. 3 weeks after the video went viral, I got a knock on my door. It was Karen. She looked different. Humbler. Less makeup. Regular clothes instead of her usual outfits. "Andrew," she said quietly. "Can we talk?" I invited her in, curious to see what this was about. "I wanted to apologize," she said, sitting uncomfortably on my couch. "I saw the video. I saw how I looked. I was horrible. I waited. I've been getting harassment online. People found my social media, my work. I had to delete everything. My daughter is embarrassed. My colleagues saw it." She paused. "I deserved it, but it's been hell. I'm sorry people are harassing you," I said, and I meant it. I never wanted that. "I know. You were always reasonable. I was the one who escalated everything." She looked at her hands. "I think I've been angry about a lot of things in my life, and I took it out on you." "Why the parking spot specifically?" She sighed. "Honestly, I was jealous. You seem to have your life together, young guy with a steady job, no drama. And I'm 45, divorced, struggling to pay rent on my place, car payments killing me. That BMW, I can barely afford it, but I need it for work, for image. When I saw you with your modest car in the best spot, it just triggered something. I felt a pang of sympathy. I'd been so focused on the principle of the thing, I hadn't considered that she might be dealing with her own problems. I wish you'd just talk to me about it instead of acting like a crazy person." She laughed bitterly. "Yeah, me too. I'm in therapy now, actually. The whole thing was a wake-up call." We sat in silence for a moment. "Is there anything I can do to help with the online harassment?" I asked. "Actually, yes. Maybe you could make a follow-up video? Just saying that while you disagree with what I did, you don't support people attacking me personally?" I agreed. That weekend, I posted a short TikTok asking people to stop harassing Karen and her family. It helped a little. The comments were still brutal, but the direct attacks on her social media slowed down. The whole experience changed me in ways I didn't expect. For years, I'd been the quiet guy who avoided confrontation. who let things slide to keep the peace. But standing up to Karen, calmly, with facts, without losing my temper, had shown me I could handle conflict without becoming the bad guy. At work, I started speaking up more in meetings. When a colleague tried to take credit for my analysis, I politely but firmly corrected the record. When my landlord tried to raise my rent beyond what was reasonable, I negotiated based on market rates and my history as a good tenant. The internet fame opened unexpected doors. A podcast about urban living issues invited me to talk about neighbor disputes. A local mediation service asked if I'd be interested in training as a mediator. Someone from a tech company reached out about a job opportunity. Apparently they liked how I'd handled the situation. I even started dating again. Turns out went viral for calmly dealing with a Karen is actually pretty attractive to certain types of people. Who knew? It's been 6 months since the BMW Karen versus Honda Hero video made me internet famous for 15 minutes. The views have plateaued at around 8 million, which is apparently pretty good for TikTok drama. Karen and I have settled into a polite coexistence. She still lives in the building, still drives the BMW, though she parks it properly now. We nod when we pass in the hallway. Last month, she even held the elevator for me when I was carrying groceries. The parking spot remains mine. I still pay Mrs. Rodriguez $200 a month, and she still treats me like the grandson she never had. The sign is still there. A little weathered now, but still clear. I kept the dash cam. You never know. The whole experience taught me that sometimes standing your ground doesn't make you the bad guy, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when the other person is louder or more aggressive. Facts are facts, contracts are contracts, and property rights are property rights. But it also taught me that behind every Karen there's usually a person dealing with their own problems, taking out their frustrations on the wrong target. The internet mostly moved on to other dramas, though I still get recognized occasionally. Last week, a barista at Starbucks said, "Hey, you're the parking spot guy," and didn't charge me for my coffee upgrade. Marcus, the teenager who filmed everything, became a minor TikTok celebrity himself. He now has 100,000 followers and makes videos about catching Karens in the wild. He credits our parking lot confrontation with launching his social media career. As for me, I'm still the same person mostly. Still drive the Honda, though I've been thinking about upgrading. Still work at the same company with a promotion, partly thanks to my newfound confidence. Still live in the same apartment. But now I have 2 parking spots. One under my car and one in the hearts of TikTok users everywhere. And honestly, that's not a bad legacy for a guy who just wanted to park his car in peace.